August 8th, 1969, Los Angeles, California. It was a perfect summer night in the Hollywood Hills. Sharon Tate was 26 years old, 8.5 months pregnant, 2 weeks away from becoming a mother. Her husband, director Roman Polanski, was in London, so she invited friends over for dinner. By sunrise, Sharon Tate was dead, stabbed 16 times, a rope around her neck. Her unborn baby died with her. 4 other people were slaughtered that night. The word pig was written on the front door. In Sharon's blood, the killers didn't know her. They had never met her. They didn't even know her name. They were sent by a man named Charles Manson to start a race war he called Helter Skelter. This is the story of Sharon Tate, the most promising actress of her generation, the woman who had everything, until strangers came in the night and took it all away. But before that terrible night, Sharon Tate was living a fairy tale, and it started in the most unlikely place. January 24th, 1943, Dallas, Texas. Sharon Marie Tate was born to an army family. Her father, Colonel Paul Tate, was a military intelligence officer. Her mother, Doris, was a housewife raising 3 daughters. Sharon was beautiful from the start. At just 6 months old, she won her first beauty contest, Miss Tiny Tot of Dallas. But being an army brat meant constant moving. By the time Sharon was 16, she had lived in 6 different cities: Texas, Washington State, California, and then Italy. In Vicenza, Italy, Sharon blossomed. She was crowned homecoming queen, prom queen. She learned to speak fluent Italian, and she started appearing as an extra in movies, filming nearby. At 16, she won Miss Richland in Washington. But Sharon wasn't just a pretty face. She was shy, introverted. Her parents were strict, and she grew up sheltered from the world. She had no idea what that world had in store for her. In 1962, Sharon hitchhiked to Hollywood with a dream. Within 5 years, she'd be a movie star married to one of the most famous directors in the world. When Sharon arrived in Hollywood in 1962, she was 19 years old with no connections and no experience. But producer Martin Ransohoff took one look at her and said, "Baby, we're going to make you a star." He signed her to a 7-year contract. She started small, commercials, bit parts, a recurring role on the Beverly Hillbillies, where she wore a dark wig to hide her famous blonde hair. In 1967, everything changed. Sharon starred in Valley of the Dolls, a scandalous film about Hollywood's dark side. She was nominated for a Golden Globe. Critics compared her to Marilyn Monroe. The same year, she filmed The Fearless Vampire Killers in London. The director was a young Polish filmmaker named Roman Polanski. He had just made Rosemary's Baby, a horror film about a woman carrying the devil's child. Sharon and Roman hated each other at first, but hate turned to love. On January 20th, 1968, they married in London. Warren Beatty and Michael Caine were guests. Sharon Tate was 25 years old. She was beautiful, famous, married to a genius. And she had just discovered she was pregnant. It should have been the happiest time of her life. But 1,000 miles away, in the California desert, a madman was building an army, and he had his eyes on Sharon Tate's house. Charles Manson spent most of his life in prison. By the time he was released in 1967, he was 32 years old and had spent 17 years behind bars. He drifted to San Francisco during the summer of love. He learned to play guitar. He grew his hair, and he started collecting followers, mostly young women from broken homes who were looking for a father figure. Manson called his group the Family. They lived on an abandoned movie ranch outside Los Angeles. He preached a twisted philosophy combining the Bible, Scientology, and Beatles songs. He was obsessed with the Beatles' White Album, especially a song called Helter Skelter. Manson believed it predicted an apocalyptic race war. Black people would rise up and kill white people. Then Manson and his family would emerge from hiding to rule the world. Manson also wanted to be a rock star. Through Beach Boys drummer Dennis Wilson, he met producer Terry Melcher, Doris Day's son. Melcher listened to Manson's music and said no. Terry Melcher lived at 10,050 Cielo Drive. When he moved out in early 1969, Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate moved in. Manson knew the house. He had been there before, and he never forgot being rejected. On August 8, 1969, Charles Manson told his followers to go to that house on Cielo Drive. Kill everyone there, he said, and do it as gruesome as you can. August 8, 1969, Sharon Tate was 2 weeks from her due date. Her baby was going to be named Paul Richard Polanski, after her father. Roman was still in London, working on a film. So Sharon had friends staying with her. Jay Sebring, her ex-boyfriend who had remained a close friend. Wojciech Frykowski, a Polish writer and friend of Roman's. And Abigail Folger, the heiress to the Folgers' coffee fortune. That evening, the four friends went to dinner at El Coyote, a Mexican restaurant Sharon loved. They came home around 10:30 p.m. Sharon was tired. She was huge with pregnancy. She just wanted to rest out just before midnight. A car pulled up to the gate of 1005 Cielo Drive. Inside were four people: Charles Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian. They had been sent by Charles Manson. They had wire cutters, knives, a gun, and orders to kill. The first victim was 18-year-old Stephen Parent. He wasn't even supposed to be there. He had just visited the caretaker in the guest house and was leaving when Tex Watson shot him 4 times dot, and Watson cut the window screen and let the others in. What happened next would shock the world and end an era of innocence forever. The killers found Wojciech Frykowski asleep on the couch. They woke him up. When he asked who they were, Tex Watson replied, "I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business." They gathered everyone in the living room. They tied a rope around Sharon's neck and threw it over a beam. Jay Sebring was tied to the other end out when Sebring tried to protect Sharon. Watson shot him and stabbed him 7 times. Abigail Folger tried to run. Patricia Krenwinkel chased her across the lawn and stabbed her 28 times. Wojciech Frykowski fought back. He was stabbed 51 times, shot twice, and beaten over the head. And then there was Sharon Dot. According to Susan Atkins, Sharon begged for her life. Not for herself, but for her baby. "Please, let me have my baby," she said. "You can kill me, but please let me have my baby." Atkins later testified, "I told her I didn't care about her or her baby." Sharon Tate was stabbed 16 times. The rope was still around her neck. She died on her living room floor, 2 weeks before she was supposed to give birth. Before they left, Susan Atkins dipped a towel in Sharon's blood and wrote one word on the front door: "Pig." The next morning, the housekeeper arrived and found the bodies. Hollywood would never be the same again. August 9, 1969, the housekeeper, Winifred Chapman, arrived at 10,050 Cielo Drive and found blood everywhere. She ran screaming into the street that the news spread like wildfire. 5 people dead. A pregnant movie star. Blood on the walls. The word pig on the door. Hollywood was terrified. Frank Sinatra hired bodyguards. Steve McQueen started carrying a gun. Nobody knew who did it or why Roman Polanski flew back from London in shock. He walked through the house where his wife and unborn child had been murdered. Life magazine photographed him standing in the doorway where Sharon had posed just months before. The killers weren't caught for months. They only found them because Susan Atkins bragged to a cellmate about the murders. Charles Manson, Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten were all convicted. They were sentenced to death, later commuted to life in prison when California abolished the death penalty. Sharon Tate was buried at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City. Her unborn son, Paul Richard Polanski, was buried in her arms. The tombstone reads both their names. She was 26 years old. The Manson murders didn't just end. 5 lives that night. They ended an era. Writer Joan Didion famously wrote that the 1960s ended the night Sharon Tate died. The summer of love was over. The dream of peace and freedom had turned into a nightmare. Sharon's mother, Doris Tate, spent the rest of her life fighting for victims' rights. Because of her work, victims and their families can now speak at parole hearings in California to this day. Whenever a Manson family member comes up for parole, a Tate family member is there to oppose it. Leslie Van Houten was finally released in 2023, the first and only killer to walk free. She was denied parole 22 times in 2019. Quentin Tarantino made Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a film that reimagines what could have happened if Sharon Tate had survived. Margot Robbie played Sharon with grace and humanity, reminding the world of the woman behind the headlines. Sharon Tate wanted to be remembered for her work, her talent, her kindness, not for how she died. But 55 years later, we still remember that night in August. We remember the senselessness, the cruelty, the innocence lost forever. Sharon Tate deserved to be a mother. She deserved to grow old. She deserved a life. Instead, she became a symbol of everything that can go wrong when evil meets innocence. Rest in peace, Sharon. You and your baby boy. If this story moved you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories of Hollywood's greatest tragedies. Next week, Marilyn Monroe. Was it suicide, or was she silenced forever? Drop a comment. What do you remember about the summer of 1969? Until then, hold your loved ones close.